the legendary Degtyarev machine gun. How Soviet ingenuity outshone the competition. Subscribe to the channel and drop your comments below. Share your thoughts on machine guns, the history of weaponry, or how technology shapes the world. Your input matters, and I can't wait to hear from you. Picture a battlefield in the early 20th century. The deafening roar of artillery, the whistle of bullets, the shouts of soldiers, and the chaos. Amid this madness, a game changer emerges, a light machine gun. It's not just a weapon, it's a revolution. Compact, portable, and capable of unleashing a storm of bullets, it allows a single soldier to dominate a position. While Europe and America were arming their troops with these cutting-edge weapons during World War I, Russia was stuck playing catch-up. Why did this happen? And how did a Soviet engineer named Vasily Degtyarev create a machine gun that not only caught up but surpassed its foreign rivals? Buckle up for an epic tale of innovation, grit, and a weapon that rewrote the rules of warfare. This isn't just a history lesson. It's a deep dive into an era of transformation. The birth of the iconic Degtyarev machine gun, DP, adopted in 1927, and why it became a legend. I'll weave in my own thoughts, economic context, and insights from the web to show how this weapon became a symbol of engineering brilliance. We'll explore what made the DP stand out, how it stacked up against its global competitors, and why its story still resonates today. Let's dive in. Let's rewind to 1914. World War I kicks off, and the armies of Europe's major powers, France, Germany, Britain, are already wielding light machine guns. These weapons are the Swiss Army knives of the battlefield. Versatile, deadly, and perfect for the brutal trench warfare of the time. A single machine gun could pin down enemy troops, cover an advance, or defend a position. By the war's end in 1918, these weapons were everywhere. But Russia? It was a different story. When the war began, the Russian army didn't have a single light machine gun. Zero. Even by the war's end, they still hadn't developed one. Why? The Tsarist military leadership underestimated the potential of machine guns. They were fixated on heavy, cumbersome weapons like the Maxim gun, which weighed around 60 kilograms and needed a wheel mount to move. In the fast-paced, muddy reality of trench warfare, the Maxim was like trying to maneuver a tank through a tight alley. Russia relied on its allies, mainly Britain, for supplies of Lewis guns. But these were few and far between, and they weren't always suited for Russia's harsh winters or grimy trenches. Allies weren't exactly eager to share their best tech, either. Toward the war's end, Russia tried to fix this by partnering with a Danish company to build a factory near Moscow to produce Maxim machine guns. It was a bold plan, but it flopped. The factory was never finished, and not a single Maxim gun was made. Russia was left empty-handed as the war ended in defeat and revolution. After World War I, the world of weaponry entered a new era. Engineers across the globe studied the war's lessons and realized that the machine guns rushed into production during the conflict were outdated. They were too heavy, too finicky, and too hard to maintain. A global race began to create the next generation of light machine guns, lighter, simpler, and more effective. One big challenge was weight. Early machine guns, like the Lewis gun from 1915, used water cooling systems or bulky radiators, making them weigh 12 to 15 kilograms. Soldiers had to lug not just the gun, but also water for cooling, a nightmare in the field. So, designers shifted to air-cooled systems to shed pounds. Another issue was how the guns worked. Many early models relied on a moving barrel mechanism, where the barrel shifted inside a casing during firing. This added weight and made the guns prone to jamming when dirt or dust got inside. Such designs, like the Swiss Fur from 1924 or the Italian Brixia from 1923 and 1930, were outliers and never gained widespread use. Instead, engineers turned to a gas-operated system, where powder gases from a fire bullet were diverted to push a piston, cycling the action. This was simpler, lighter, and more reliable. By the 1920s, this design powered 12 new light machine guns adopted worldwide, including the Soviet DP, designed by Vasily Degtyarev in 1927. And here's where things get interesting. The DP wasn't just another gun, it was a standout. Vasily Degtyarev, born into a humble peasant family in Tula, Russia, became one of the Soviet Union's greatest weapons designers. His creation, the DP Degtyarev infantry machine gun, adopted in 1927, was a game changer. So what made it so special? Let's break it down. The DP's biggest strength was its simplicity. Unlike many foreign machine guns that used long, enclosed gas chambers, the DP had a short, open gas system. After a shot, the gases briefly pushed the piston and then vented out. This made the gun less prone to jams and easier to maintain. Foreign guns with enclosed chambers needed constant cleaning, especially in muddy or dusty conditions. A speck of dirt could spell disaster. But the DP? It thrived in the harshest environments. Think Siberian winters or muddy trenches. The average light machine gun in the 1920s and 30s weighed 8 to 9 kilograms. The DP clocked in at about 9 kilograms, putting it on par with the best of its time. But it wasn't just about weight. Degtyarev thought of everything. A 47-round disc magazine that was easy to load, a design that could be disassembled and cleaned in minutes, even in the heat of battle. Soldiers loved it for its no-nonsense reliability. Let's see how the DP compared to its rivals. The British Lewis gun, a World War I staple, was outdated by the 1920s. Its radiator cooling system made it heavier, and its complex internals required more maintenance. The German MG-13, introduced in 1930, was lighter at about 7 kilograms, but its 25-round magazine paled in comparison to the DP's capacity. Plus, the MG-13 was pricier to produce, a big deal for cash-strapped nations. The French Chow Chat from 1915 was notorious for its unreliability, jamming at the worst moments, especially in muddy conditions. The American Bar Browning automatic rifle was solid but weighed around 8 kilograms and had a meager 20-round magazine. The DP struck a perfect balance, reliable, easy to use, and packing enough firepower to make a difference. To appreciate the DP's impact, let's look at the Soviet Union's economy in the 1920s. After the devastating Civil War, the country was in shambles. Factories were destroyed, resources were scarce, and the military desperately needed modern weapons. Importing guns was costly and unreliable, so the Soviets bet on homegrown talent. Degtyarev worked in Tula, a city synonymous with Russian weaponry. His DP was designed for mass production on a tight budget. Simple materials, minimal complex parts, it was a masterclass in efficiency. For comparison, in 1927, Germany, France, and Britain were pouring millions into weapons development. The German MG-13, for instance, was expensive due to its intricate design. Meanwhile, the Soviets, with a GDP of roughly $20 billion in today's terms, compared to the US's $100 billion, created a world-class weapon on a shoestring budget. The DP became the backbone of Soviet infantry. Adopted in 1927, it proved its worth immediately. Unlike many foreign machine guns, the DP was versatile, used by foot soldiers, mounted on vehicles, and even wielded by partisans. It became as iconic to the Soviet army as the AK-47 would later become. Its real impact was tactical. Light machine guns like the DP gave infantry units mobility and firepower. A squad with a DP could lay down suppressive fire, cover in advance, or hold a position against overwhelming odds. This was critical in the fast-moving battles of World War II, where maneuverability often decided victory. The DP's story isn't just about a weapon. It's about ingenuity under pressure. In a world obsessed with complex technology, Degtyarev's focus on simplicity and reliability is a powerful lesson. Whether you're an engineer, a business owner, or a policymaker, the takeaway is clear. Sometimes the best solutions are the ones that work, no matter the conditions. Today, we marvel at drones, smart missiles, and laser weapons, but light machine guns still have a place on the battlefield. Their simplicity and effectiveness keep them relevant. Degtyarev laid the groundwork for this philosophy, and it's a mindset that applies beyond warfare to tech, business, and even daily life. Let's zoom out for some economic perspective. In 1927, the Soviet Union's economy was a fraction of its Western rivals. With a GDP of about $20 billion, compared to the US's $100 billion, every ruble counted. The DP's design, simple materials, easy to manufacture parts like the disc magazine, allowed the Soviets to arm their troops without breaking the bank. Compare this to modern industries. Take consumer drones. Companies like DJI dominate because they offer reliable, affordable products. It's the same principle Degtyarev mastered. Build something that works well and doesn't cost a fortune. In a world of tight budgets and rapid innovation, simplicity is often the key to success. The Degtyarev machine gun is more than a piece of military history. It's a testament to human ingenuity. It showed that even a nation lagging in resources could create something extraordinary with the right vision. The DP influenced weapons design for decades and was used well into the 1950s. Its legacy lives on in the principle that simple, reliable solutions can outshine flashier alternatives. Subscribe to the channel and leave your comments. What do you think of the Degtyarev machine gun? Curious about more weapon history or how tech shapes our world? Share your thoughts below, and let's keep the conversation going. Your comments make this content better,